Today, we're going to explore a city that's been both French and German, a place where grand palaces and cozy little timber-framed houses tell this incredible story of conflict and eventually unity. Yep, we're heading to Strasbourg to see how its history is literally written in stone. Let's dive in.
You know, this quote just hits the nail on the head for Strasbourg. Every single building, from the massive cathedral to the smallest home, is like a page in a story that goes back thousands of years. This city doesn't just have history, it wears it on every street corner.
So that's the big question, right? How does that even work? For centuries, Strasbourg was caught in this tug-of-war between France and Germany, constantly changing hands. And you can see that push and pull carved right into its buildings, creating something you really can't find anywhere else.
Okay, to really get this story, you gotta picture the map. Strasbourg is right there on the Rhine River, which for ages has been the natural and often fought over border between the French and Germanic worlds. It was basically destined to be a meeting point, and pretty often a battleground.
That's right. This whole story kicks off more than 2,000 years ago. The Romans, who were masters of city planning, set up a military outpost here. And the craziest part, the grid they laid out, those straight, organized streets, still forms the very backbone of the city's historic center today.
So let's fast forward a few hundred years. After Rome falls, Strasbourg doesn't just disappear. Oh no, it booms. It becomes this powerful, super wealthy trading hub in the Middle Ages. And the architecture from this time, it's just absolutely iconic.
You just can't talk about Strasbourg without talking about this magnificent cathedral. Seriously, it's carved from this beautiful pink sandstone from the nearby mountains. Took centuries to finish, and it just completely dominates the skyline. It's breathtaking.
So what makes it a Gothic masterpiece? Well, the whole point of Gothic architecture was to go higher and let in more light than ever before. It was all about drawing your eyes and your spirit up toward the heavens. These incredible pointed arches and giant windows weren't just pretty, they were engineering marvels meant to fill you with awe.
Get this, for 227 years, for over 2 centuries, this cathedral was the tallest man-made structure on the entire planet. I mean, think about that. It was the skyscraper of its time, a massive statement about the city's ambition, its wealth, and its faith.
But, you know, medieval life wasn't all about grand cathedrals. To see how everyday people lived, we gotta head over to the unbelievably charming district known as La Petite France, with its winding canals and famous houses. It's like stepping into a fairy tale.
You know the look I'm talking about, those iconic dark wooden beams that create a kind of skeleton on the outside of the building. This style is called half-timbered, and it was super popular in both France and Germany. So again, it perfectly shows off Strasbourg's two-sided heritage, right there in the way people built their homes.
And here's the really cool part. This design wasn't just for looks. Not at all. This was the city's working-class neighborhood. Those huge sloped roofs with the open attics, they weren't a style choice. They were totally necessary for the tanners, who needed all that space to dry their leather hides. The architecture was literally shaped by the work people did every day.
All right, so now the story takes a big turn. As Strasbourg got more and more important strategically, it became this major prize in the long-running rivalry between France and Germany. And this is where we see a crucial point. Architecture becomes a weapon, a tool for rulers to stamp their authority all over the city.
So in the late 1600s, the Sun King, Louis XIV, takes over the city. And France brings its own style with it, French classical. Think balance, elegance, a lot of symmetry. The amazing Palais Rohan is the perfect example. It was built to project this sense of calm, unshakable royal power.
But then, about 200 years later, the city switches hands again. After the Franco-Prussian War, it becomes part of the new German Empire. And the Germans waste no time. They immediately start building a huge new district, the Neustadt, or New Town, designed from the ground up to be a showcase of German power and permanence.
And you can see the difference so clearly right here. On one side, you've got the French style of the Palais Rohan. It's all about elegant, controlled power. On the other side, the German-built Palais du Rhin. It is massive, it is imposing, and it was built to shout, "We are a powerful empire and we are here to stay." 2 different rulers, 2 totally different messages, all written in stone.
After centuries of being pulled back and forth, and especially after the devastation of 2 world wars, Strasbourg's story enters this incredible new chapter. It goes from being a symbol of division to a powerful symbol of unity.
It's kind of beautiful, actually. It was because of its painful history, because it was at the heart of the Franco-German conflict for so long, that Strasbourg was seen as the absolute perfect place to build a new, peaceful Europe. It was chosen to host institutions dedicated to making sure that kind of war could never happen again.
And this, of course, led to a completely new layer of architecture. The European Quarter, with buildings like the European Parliament, is all glass and steel. It's modern. Its sweeping, circular shapes are meant to represent transparency, openness, and cooperation. A really stark and very deliberate contrast to the imposing stone palaces of the past.
So, as we start to bring this all together, let's just step back for a second and look at the city as a whole. What happens when you mix all these different layers of history together? What do you get?
I mean, this timeline really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? You can literally walk through 2,000 years of history. You start on the Roman grid, you look up at the soaring Gothic cathedral, you wander through French and German districts, and you end up at the modern face of European unity. It's all there.
And this is the key. This is the secret to Strasbourg's magic. It learned to combine its influences instead of having to choose between them. Its identity is a fusion. The city is proof that two very different cultures can coexist and create something even more beautiful together.
In fact, this unique blend is so important to human history that it's not just the medieval center that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, but the 19th century German Neustadt, too. It's this official recognition that the entire conversation between the buildings is what makes Strasbourg absolutely priceless.
So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're walking around your own town or city, just take a closer look at the buildings. What different styles do you see? What history is written in the stone and brick around you? Because really, every place has a story to tell. Thanks for watching.